So hey everyone, I'm Yash. I'm a Google developer expert and I create stunning CSS on the web. Today I'm going to show you something really interesting with Google Meet. So as we can see right here, we have this particular Meet icon where I'm taking transcription of my notes. And here we can see a pen icon that is moving and creating some really stunning CSS, or at this moment it's not CSS but a GIF. So we can just see that there is a GIF that creates this effect. And I got to think, like, why don't I make this and I use CSS for it? So let's dive right in and just see how we can do that. And also let me just show you an example of how the example would look. And here we go, we have a very nice pen that gives the animation like this. So how do we make this? And for this, let's think about the requirements first. I would go to Figma and just show you that we will need a very first requirement, which is to make our design. For this kind of a design, we would be making, and I will be just showing you how we can make this, is by making a rectangle and turning it into a circle, making 4 of these. So I will just copy it and I will just duplicate these as well. And as you can see, we have the structure here. So I will just make a rectangle that goes through half of each of these, and I'm just going to group the circles, make a group, get it with the rectangle, and just going to exclude it, and here we have. And then I'm going to just make a frame, and everything would just go inside this frame. So here we can see that we have made this very beautiful Gemini logo here, which is a part of the whole thing that we are going to do. So we have 2 of these, and then we have a pen icon. This is just taken from fonts.google.com/icons, which is like it's Google font or material icons. So I can just go to material symbols, and we can see that if I type pen or edit, I believe, then there would be an edit pen, kind of like this one. So we have that as well. And if we see very carefully, and let's just go frame by frame to our very beautiful pen that was making this animation, and let's watch it. So, and I will just go here and do this. So if we see frame by frame, the first Gemini logo kind of pops up. We have this pen icon, and then a second one appears, both of them go away, and then the pen follows and makes a shape, and the gradient starts here, and then it disappears. It makes these 4 dots. We can also take a look at like how we can make this, and then it just becomes lighter and lighter, and finally everything disappears. So getting to know this and getting to know that we already have a design that has this gradient and also those dots, let's export them as SVG and go to our Codepen. Yeah. So taking a look at a Codepen, I think that there is nothing here. I will just reload it. So here we have this beautiful animation. It makes that and disappears, makes this lighter mode and all. But how does it do that? And for that, I'm going to just comment out multiple things that are related to animation here. So don't just worry about anything that I'm commenting right now. It is more so that the comments would start to make sense as I dive deeper and deeper. So yeah, and I'm just going to reload the page. As we can see right now, we have the Gemini icons and we have this pen mark, and I can just make the line as well have no CSS right now. So yeah, the line also appears like this. So this is the exported SVG that I have, and I'm just going to go to the HTML. There is no JavaScript, the best part, and there is just HTML and CSS. So the very first SVG that we have here, and I think that there is only 2 SVGs that exist, and the second one is the pen icon. So if I remove this, I can just see that that will remove my pen icon here, because that's the SVG of material pen, and this pen icon would actually move in a very specific way. And let's just start with that, like how does this pen move? So this pen would be having this styling, and I'm just going to uncomment it here, and it says that give me an absolute position, give me an offset path, and I would make sure that I go over and make this particular path. So this path gets this offset path, and this very beautiful, very nice CSS property actually give us the end to end. We do not have to make a translate or transform something like that to move in this manner, which would have been really difficult. We just take this offset path and we just say that yeah, move over this path. The distance will start at 0. You do not rotate yourself, and let's just see what does that offset rotate means. It means that if I am moving in circle something, don't rotate my whole pen, because that would not make any sense. Just keep it as it is and maybe a bit of a translate so that it comes at the right spot. And it's called move pen along the path, and which would be an animation that moves the offset distance to 100%. Quite, I would say, quite straight to the point, right? So we do know like how does the pen move, and we understand it really well now. But let's just comment that part as well. I want to do not show anything till I get my first steps clear, like how do these SVGs animate. And yeah, so we know this pen SVG, and let's go to the other rabbit hole, which is this whole Gemini and the different kind of lines that we have here. This one says that hey, just give me the gradient mask here, and I would be making a path which is my line 1, the first line, and then I would have a line second, which is my second line here, and I would have a third line here, and I would also have a fourth line, which is this very small mini line here, and I would be using them to have some kind of animation that I have given these CSS classes. And finally we have this Gemini. So we have two of them. We have Gemini 1 and Gemini 2. So these two are two sparkles that we could have called them just sparkles that we also animate. So yeah, that completes our understanding of how everything is within this. And let's just jump into and understand the CSS right now. Simple margin padding, making it at the center. This is I would say very straight to the point. So I'm just going to hide these. And now comes the real fun with line. I'm just going to make a line with stroke dash array 1000 and offset 1000, which means that make the line so big that is not appearing any at all, because 1000 is higher than any of the line I would say the viewport lines that we already have. So it says that make the line be outside our viewport, and I'm going to animate it with the draw line. Let's just see what that draw line does, and I'm just not going to care about anything that says about line 1 2 3 4 differently. And this draw line says that hey, the stroke dash offset should get to 0. So you saw that many of the lines just animated, right? So I'm just going to reload it again, and I'm going to actually save it. I'm very sure that you saw that the pen animates, which is something that we do not want at this moment. Let's just hide it, because we already know the pen animation, right? So I'm just going to hide our pen and just going to reload again, and let's see. So it animates a line. It moves it down as well, but it animates a line. The move down is due to fade down. Let's not worry about it as well, and let's try just the line animation. Just try to see. So yeah, a line is animating just because of this stroke dash offset. You can just see the examples on MDN as well, which is really cool. And without delaying, I am just going to add animation delay, quite the pun, that I need my lines one after another. I do not need them to be animating like together. So this creates a staggered animation effect, and that's very beautiful. So I'm just going to comment or just going to hide these out. I already know what my lines are doing, and I think I had one more quite beautiful animation, which is fade down. So what fade down suggests is that once this line animation is completed, once you have completed it, just move the entire line downwards. That's a fade down. And this says that opacity 1 would become 99% opacity would stay 1, but suddenly opacity would become 0. It would translate from 0, which is like just at the top, to 40, which is like go down. And the filter would say that yeah, just give it a bit of brightness and make it more grayscale. And just reload it and to see the animation, and here we have these staggered animation combined with the beautiful fade down animation. Just quite a lot of fun. And let's keep going. We also see that we have something with the Gemini. So let's go to that part. We already have covered this pen, which is like the pen is moving in an offset, which allows it to have this animation on the pen body. So it says that, yeah, move my pen along this part, which is the offset path. And it's quite beautiful when it comes, because we are actually absolutely positioning it, making the section relatively positioned. When both of them come together, the pen looks like it is actually floating over the top of this. Really nice. And also, I would like to say that at the very first time you wouldn't nail the animation timing. I just tweaked it a lot. You can actually go to your console panel and just see, by pressing Command Shift P, and just go to the animations. I'm just going to show that as well. So let's take a bit of a detour to understand like what do I mean there. I also have this example, the very same example, that I can just click on go live and just see on my Chrome. And now I'm just going to go here, do Command Shift P and animation, show animation, and let's see. Here it gives me a whole animation that exists, and I can actually do something like this, which is, let me just resize it a bit, and yeah, I can actually go to the different animations that exist. I can actually play it, pause it when I want, and I can actually pause any of the animation the way I want, and I can actually see how these animations are working, which is quite nice, because I use this to actually make the pen float over the top at the right time on all the four, and made the right staggered animations, so that all these four lines are one after the other. So yeah, that's a bit of animation delay and the magic it can do when done the right way. Let's hop back to our Codepen, right? So yeah, we have hopped back to our Codepen. I'm just going to reload to see till where we have covered. So yeah, I think we haven't covered these Gemini. Otherwise, we know the staggered animation, we know the fade down, we know how our pen is moving. So yeah, quite really fascinating. Let's keep on the speed, just be on the train here. And now we have a move animation that says that here just transform origin is 0, which means that you are on the left side, and I'm just going to make you have this movement, which is like just scale it to 0, and because you have a transform origin on the left side, you will actually scale down while moving to the left side, which is quite nice. As well as we have an appear that says that, yeah, the appearance would stay as it is. I will just make sure that this property, to understand what does it do. So let's see. I think that we do not need the appearance, right? Let me just hide it, because I think the appearance is something I did to change from. Okay, yeah, at the beginning the opacity is 0, that's why we need appear. All right, I got it. So it says that, yeah, the Gemini would be something that would make a move motion and an appear motion. The second Gemini is the Gemini logo that appears out of nowhere when we are on the second or third frames of the GIF. So it makes a move, it makes an appear, and that allows it to go to the left side by scaling to the transform origin of 0. Let's see how the whole thing looks together. And yeah, these are moving towards the left side due to the transform origin of 0. Let me just also try that. What if the transform origin was not there? I think that's one of the best ways to understand. So the transform origin was not on the left side, which means that it will go to like 0, 0, which is like the top side, or whatever the transform origin is. And yeah, so as you have seen, this is how we create these stunning animation. This is how we do it. So thank you everyone for joining me today. Today we discovered a very nice Google Meet animation, and we were able to see how that Scribble animation stuff works. Thank you so much, and have a very great day ahead.